But I also want to talk about James because he was really not a great guy. Not only is he having countless affairs, treating Florence like crap and poisoning himself, but this is like the most wild part of the story and also like what the heck was happening in Victorian era England. But James Maybrick was actually considered a suspect for the Jack the Ripper killings.
What? That is shocking.
Yeah, he confessed to them in a journal.
Was he not having multiple affairs and he was just actually disappearing and killing people?
But this is tough because it was in 1992, 103 years after James died, that a metal merchant named Michael Barrett was working on the Maybrick home and claimed he found a journal belonging to the Jack the Ripper because the author of the journal never identified himself, but it had confessions to all 5 of the brutal murders believed to be the work of the Ripper in 1888, which is the year before James Maybrick died. And he found this journal in the Maybrick home. So while it didn't say James Maybrick on the journal, it was found in the home.
I guess my one thing is like he was so ill towards the end that I do wonder, but wait. Okay, so he felt horrible and you would be, it is weird that sometimes he'd have like spurts of feeling really great. What if whenever he was totally fine the next day, he still had all of those symptoms and he was still being poisoned and like poisoning himself, but he was on the high of the kill?
I mean, it's very Jekyll and Hyde. He's taking all these poison, which are altering his entire being, his mental state. And like when this came out in 1992, Ripperologists all around the world are like, oh my gosh, James Maybrick is Jack the Ripper.
I'm blown away. This is crazy.
Yeah, because the timelines do line up. The journal entries were dated for May 3rd, 1889, a little over a week before James died. So like people were like, oh, is this a deathbed confession penned by the hand of a guilty man? So James Maybrick in his deathbed is like writing this journal and then hides the journal in the house that's not found for 103 years.
Okay, well now I need to go back to everything about Jack the Ripper and understand like when the killings happened, because they also spent some time in America. Like was there...
And James Maybrick did. But I guess like before his time.
But yeah, no, I'm like wondering if like the dates and travel and stuff like all perfectly line up with...
Well, here's the tough thing. So in 1995, so 3 years after finding this journal, Michael Barrett apparently signed an affidavit. Apparently, no, he did sign an affidavit saying that the diary was a forgery. But then almost immediately after releasing that, he's like, I'm kidding, I retract that statement. So then people...
But why would he say that?
Well, so people are like, was he... Yeah, people don't understand it. And then why would he say that in the first place and then immediately take it back? So we don't have an answer.
To catch every terrifying moment, subscribe to @Crimehouse Studios on YouTube.
Because this time, you're not just watching the horror, you're understanding it.